Looking for an X870E motherboard and not sure which one actually makes sense for your build? In this ranking, I'm going from the weakest option to the best one, so you can see where the real differences show up. In 5th place, this board is the entry point into this group, and I say that in a fair way because it still gives you the core X870E experience, but next to the others here, it feels more like the practical choice than the exciting one. You still get a strong base, PCIe 5 for the graphics slot, 4 M2 slots, Wi-Fi 7, and dual USB 4. On paper, that already sounds solid, and in real use it means you are not missing the features that matter most for your modern AM5 build. But this is also where the gap starts to show. Compared with the stronger boards, the 2.5 Gigabyte networking is less premium, the expansion feels more basic, and the overall feature set is not as rich once you put it next to boards with 5 Gigabyte, 10 Gigabyte, or more flexible storage options. So this one makes sense if you want X870E without paying for extras you may never touch, and if you already know you want more premium networking, more refinement, or a more special design, the next board is the better step up. Links to all the products from this review at the best price are in the description under the video. In 4th place, this board feels like the cleaner, sharper version of the Elite. What stands out right away is the more premium execution and the white design, which for some builds is not just a nice extra, it's the whole point. Feature-wise, it stays very capable. You get the same strong AM5 foundation, solid power delivery, USB 4, Wi-Fi 7, and enough storage for most people. In my experience, this is the kind of board that makes sense when you want something that looks more special without jumping straight into the expensive flagship tier. But compared with the boards above it, the limits are still there. You're still on 2.5 Gigabyte, you still get 4 M2 slots instead of 5 like the top ASUS options, and the overall jump over the Elite is not huge unless you really care about the styling and the slightly more premium feel. This is the board for someone building a clean white setup and wanting a nicer overall package without going all the way to the higher end models. But if pure value matters more, the Elite still exists, and if performance-focused features matter more, the next board gets more interesting. And if this ranking is helping you narrow things down, like the video and subscribe to the channel. In 3rd place, this is where the class of board changes. The Strix does not just add a few small extras, it starts to feel properly high-end, especially once you notice the 10 Gigabyte networking and the jump to 5 M2 slots. And that matters more than it may seem at first. If you move big files, use fast local storage, or just want more breathing room for future upgrades, this board gives you that flexibility. The strong rear I/O, powerful VRM, and richer overall layout make it feel more complete than the 2 Gigabyte boards below it. There are still trade-offs though. The price goes up fast, and some lane sharing can limit flexibility depending on how many drives you install. So yes, it's clearly stronger, but it's also less forgiving if you're trying to stay sensible with budget. For people building a serious gaming or workstation style AM5 system, this is where I think the list starts to get really compelling. But if you want even more refinement, more connectivity options, and a more enthusiastic focused feature set, the next board pushes further. In 2nd place, this board feels like a very confident all-rounder. What I like here is that MSI did not just chase one headline feature, instead, it built a board that feels premium in several practical ways at once. You get strong power delivery, very good rear I/O, dual LAN, Wi-Fi 7, and the kind of build-friendly touches that make the whole PC assembly process less annoying. That may not sound dramatic, but when you're actually putting a system together, those details matter a lot. The reason it doesn't make the top spot is simple. It has 4 M2 slots instead of 5. It still has some bandwidth sharing to keep in mind, and the ASUS Hero above it is just more fully loaded overall, so the carbon is excellent, but it stops just short of being the most complete board here. This is a great pick for someone who wants a premium motherboard that still feels practical, not overly flashy. And if you want the fullest feature package in this ranking, then the final board is the one to watch. In 1st place, the Hero earns it by simply feeling like the most complete board in this whole comparison. This is the one that looks at the others and says, yes, that's nice, but here is even more. You get top-tier networking, strong power delivery, 5 M2 slots, dual USB 4, and a clearly enthusiast-focused design. And that is the key point. It's not just about having more features, it's about how well the whole package comes together for someone building a serious high-end AM5 system. Of course, there's a catch. It's expensive, and for a lot of people it will be more board than they actually need. That does not make it a bad choice, but it does mean you should be honest with yourself before paying flagship money for features you may never use. If you want the strongest overall option from this list, this is the one. And if you're shopping one tier below that, the Carbon and the Strix are still very smart choices depending on whether you care more about balance or top-end storage and networking. Check the top products again using the links in the description under the video, compare the one that fits your build best, and don't just buy the most expensive one by default. And if this review helped, like the video and subscribe to the channel.